Hey everybody, and welcome to my overview of Vineyard, a winemaking game. Now, this game is from Pencil First Games, and I will say, generally, they've done lighter fare in the past, and I can't neglect talking about the games that I've actually covered on my channel that I think are dynamite. Again, lighter fare. Sunrise at the Studio, lovely card game and set collection. Snowfall Over Mountains, a solo puzzle game. Floriferous, both the Pocket Edition and the Basic, a classic card game in my house. Herbaceous, The Siblings' Trouble, Sunset Over Water, The Whatnot Cabinet. These are some dynamite games, again, that I have covered here on my channel and that are about 15 to 20 minute games, sometimes up to 30. This Vineyard is a new kind of like a foray into a bigger board game for Pencil First Games, and I'm so excited. And when I heard that they had a board game, a 60-minute game with worker placement and with like customizable asymmetrical player growth, yes. So this game has a lovely theme, a winemaking game. Players are essentially going to all take part in these stages or the process of making wine. So if you take a look at the board, this is a big board here. We've got this greet section up here where we're going to greet fellow travelers and visitors that are coming to the vineyard with these particular special abilities. Then we get into the cultivation. This is the start of the process of making the wine. And in Cultivate, you are essentially going to manipulate this 3x3 grid of basic grapes, and then you will activate them to flip them over to their mature side. So there are going to be ways to grow and, again, cultivate the grapes so that you can then harvest them. When you harvest them, you're going to harvest all of one particular type, which in this case, they are specialty designed and color-coded to bring down here to the barrels or the casks. And you're going to make wine down here, grabbing the necessary ingredients to make, in this case, a Sauvignon Blanc, a Rosé, and a Pinot Noir. They're going to ask for a variety of wines, or maybe a whole bunch of one particular grape to make the wine. And then down here, lastly, is age wine, and you've got these, again, barrels that are going to travel through the aging process so that you can load them onto the trucks, and they can essentially earn victory points for all players who have contributed. And that's the thing that I really like the most about this game, is that players are contributing at various stages in the winemaking process, and they do that by placing out their hearts. And their hearts are going to be their player color, and that's going to tell players who gets victory points at whatever particular time. And so you can earn it early in the cultivation process, down to the harvest, into the make wine, into the age wine, into the truck loading. So you're going to be adding the hearts that will give you the influence and the credit for what work you've done so far. Now, the way that this works, the way that players play is, first off, there's this really nice little, player cheat sheet right here, game sequence, play an action card. Every single player starts with the same type of cards and number of cards that they get to pick from. So let's take a look at them. This is going to be the green player, since I have my green hearts out. And all those places I just talked about, age wine, cultivate, make wine, harvest, greet, and load trucks. The only one I haven't talked about is paperwork. These are going to be the cards that let you do something. And not only that, you are going to be moving a particular worker that is a collective worker for everybody on the board. So let's say I want to go over and do my cultivate. I'm going to pick Joe, Sylvie, Tomas, or Greta to do it by essentially placing my card down into my action activation space. Once I've selected my card, then I'm going to look at my specialty and see, do I get a specialty? Well, Joe's good at greeting. Nobody has a specialty of cultivation. Now, I will say the cool thing too is that players all have a unique board, but they're all the same actions. Essentially, my Joe is really good at greeting, but somebody else's Joe might be good at aging wine, while my Sylvie's good at aging wine. So they're all the same abilities that you can upgrade by paying money when you go to paperwork, and you can essentially upgrade your folks to give you special things when you match the particular action to their specialty. Very cool. I mean, that's just, again, I'm getting ahead of myself with paperwork, but that's exciting. So I'm going to take Joe. Now these guys are just laying down right here, and that's okay, but they all start in paperwork, and I'm going to take Joe, and I'm going to put Joe in the space. Now, if it's a big space like this, any number of workers, Joe, Sylvie, Tomas, or Greta, can be there. If there's just one space, or a space that has a picture of some folks in it, like a 3 or 4 player game, then you can put another figure there. But if it's just one, only one person can go there. So you see here, paperwork, any amount of players, actors can go there. Make wine has 2, age wine has a big old circle, and then load says for a 1 to 2 player game, and then a 3 to 4 player game. So you're going to move that particular figure. So that's going to be move the friend, large circle, as many, small circle, only 1. Then you're going to perform the location action, and that means you're going to be doing something with the wine or the grapes and then adding your hearts. So if I again come to cultivate, it says I get to add 2 hearts to what I get to do out here. And the fun thing about this is you will get to essentially shift around these grapes, and then you will be picking a row or a column to flip over and mature. So let's say I go... let's say I take this one out, I will shift this one, and then I will place this one back in that space. You can essentially do that a couple times, and then you will place it back. So it gives you a chance to kind of manipulate where the grapes are because they randomly come out. Now, if I want to then say I want this whole row to be flipped over and they all become mature, then I take 2 of my hearts and I place them out on the grapes that were essentially selected. So I can only place my hearts out there, but I did that. This is mine. I made that progress. I went out and I cultivated. So now I'm going to get some credit for my cultivation. That's it. I'm going to look at the end of my turn. It says here, complete cleanup. The current train card and the barrel level will match the active truck level, but if I look out here and I see that I've taken out any of these grapes, like I did harvest, and I moved them down here to the, like barrel section, I'd have to replace those from the bag. So I've got the little bag with all the grapes inside of it. We never know what we're going to draw. And then my turn is essentially over. We're just going to keep going in clockwise turn order, placing out an action card. But here's another cool feature of the game. I'm not allowed to go and move Joe again until I have a card out under all of my figures out here. I essentially turn by turn by turn and placing out my cards. And at this point, I can now go into and move another person yet again. So let's say I want to move here. I'm going to move Sylvie to go make wine. At some point, I'm not going to have any cards. I have greet and I have paperwork left. And the reason I have paperwork left is because paperwork essentially refreshes your board and allows you to do your cool upgrades. So if I play paperwork, I'm essentially saying I'm playing paperwork as my card. You play it down on somebody. Let's say I move Joe back. Joe is now back at paperwork. Any amount of people can be at paperwork. And here's the interesting feature. You can pick someone who's essentially already at paperwork, but the friends have to move. So if Joe is here, I'm not allowed to activate Joe to stay at cultivate. I move him back here, but paperwork allows you to, it's flexible. Again, it's that refresh part of the game. So I count up all my cards and I say I've got 6, so now I'm going to get $6, and I add that to the money that I already have, and now I spend money. And there are 2 ways you can spend your money. One way is to gain one of these upgraded cards. These cards are fantastic. Let me show you a couple of them. So these are going to be upgraded action cards. And what they do is they allow you to have some flexibility. In this case, you can age wine or you can load. And so you're picking which one you want when you play them, and then you get to do another thing. It does cost $5, and when you do it, you essentially exchange a card from your hand with this card, so you always have the same number of cards, but you're getting those upgraded actions. That's so cool. Here's another one. Cellar hand. Age wine, then add a heart to any 2 different wines in the cellars. Again, these next 2 let you do 2 actions. First, you greet. So you go up and you greet folks at the train station, then you do paperwork. It's kind of like your last minute opportunity to gain some dollars. So these trains all have different actions that say gain dollars, maybe add hearts to things, maybe upgrade a friend with a discount. And if you ever take the card at the end here, you're going to be gaining an extra $1. So these train cards are so cool. And then another cool action card, worker B, cultivate, then harvest. And I just cultivated. If I'd been able to play cultivate and then I could harvest what I just cultivated, I would then do this. It says here, when you harvest, you're taking all of the same adjacent colors that are matching. So in this case, there are 2 of these single white grapes, 2 of these, one's a double, one's a triple grape, and then a single. So you want to move things around so you can actually get large groupings, because if you can do 4 or more, you get to essentially add 2 more hearts to it. But you always get to add a heart when you harvest, even if it's just 1, or 2 or 3, you still get to do it. But that's a double. I mean, again, these cards are so cool. And here are all the cards that you're going to have to upgrade your deck with. So with this action selection and the selection of the friend with the action card and the upgraded action, so cool. I love that. And I really do like the fact that players are collectively moving around all of these folks, and you might want to go somewhere that a person already is. So if I'm playing a 3-player game, which I have set up here, I can't go to harvest until somebody moves Greta out of the way, or I do, and hope that when it comes back to me, I can move somebody into harvest. So there really is a little bit of a rub. There is some friction with players placing out these friends, these helpers, to do things, because this is a collective space. Now, this is my personal player area. So I said that you could upgrade your card by replacing one of your basic cards with the advanced cards, or the updated ones. The other thing you do is what I already showed you, is you pay money for these abilities. And you always have to start at the top of each player going down, or each friend. But you could fully upgrade Tomas before you ever try to upgrade Greta. That's okay. But when you do the harvest specialty and you play that down here, let's say I put this card here and I had all 3 of those specialties, I could activate them before harvesting. Swap any 2 grape tokens. Yes and yes. If you have harvest 5+ grape tokens this turn, you place them into 2 different crush bins, because normally you would just funnel them into the same one. In any combination, add 1 heart to each bin. Very cool. After you harvest, you may make a wine. So it gives you yet again another action. So it's not just the action cards that give you extra actions, it's also your super cool friends and their specialty bonuses. Absolutely cool. So the thing about the game is that you will play through 1 truck, then your 2nd truck, and then your 3rd truck. And what you're doing is you are filling up the trucks, as it says here, with 4 barrels. So this says score an additional 1 star, 1 victory point per loaded wine you have 1 or more hearts on. So when you load a barrel, it's simply going to go into the load section over here, and all the barrels will be loaded up until we reach the threshold. And then we will score this card, and players are going to receive points for the contribution that they've made. And then once we get through truck number 1, we will trade out. You'll see here that we have, in this case, level 2 barrels that get more demanding, but also more payout. And then when we get to the 3rd truck, we will get number 3 barrels that have different wines. And then we are going to do the same thing with our trucks, or our trains. We have level 1 trains, then we have level 2 trains, and then we have level 3 trains. And so everything is going to shift in this 3-part process. of filling up the trucks with their necessary requirements. And then there are a variety of these to pick from as well. So with this, you've got several of your 1 levels. You're picking 1 of them, several of those 2 levels, and then you've got, again, several of the 3 levels. And so this game has a lot of replayability when it comes to the trucks and what they're asking for and how they give specialty bonus opportunities for scoring. You've got tons of those trains to go through, a lot of really great action cards, and the game itself has this really lovely amount of balance and friction with other players when it comes to the competition out on the board, the competition with the particular trucks and the bonuses. But I really like how players have strong control over how they build their deck, how they upgrade their friends, and then what they want to do on their turn. It's really, really cool. So I have to say kudos and big thumbs up to really stepping up into that 60-minute board game arena with Pencil First Games. I, again, love their smaller box games, their card games, and their 20-minute games, but Vineyard, a winemaking game, really did surprise me. And when I heard about it, I just couldn't wait to get my hands on it. So lots of praise, lots of love for Vineyard. You gotta check it out. And one more thing, when you back it on Kickstarter, you actually are going to get the mini expansion and then a whole deck of cards with another figure that you actually will be able to play with, this little kitty cat. And that mini expansion is also part of the base game that you get with Vineyard. So definitely go and check out what that Kickstarter campaign is going to offer players. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you next time. Bye.